What is up, YouTube? Welcome to my channel. This is a new editorial that I'm doing on this channel, so basically no editing. I just wanted to talk about something, and you know, it's a big thing. Justice League is coming out within less than a month now, which is insane that we've never gotten a live-action Justice League movie till now. And there's been a lot of stuff coming about Justice League. The big question is, will this movie be good? And short and sweet is what is my opinion. I do think Justice League will actually turn out being a really good movie. I'm very anticipating it. Every trailer has pumped me up for it more. And I know some people are kind of still sour on the DCEU after some of the flops that these movies have come out to be. For me, so you guys know what I think about the other films, I love Man of Steel. Batman v Superman was a disappointment at first, but once I saw the Ultimate Cut, I surely came out loving that film more. And there's tons of great stuff in that film. Suicide Squad, really the only disappointment for me that really just, I don't like the film at all, but I do still find some positives in that film. But then we get to Wonder Woman, which is in my top 10 of this year. Absolutely one of the best superhero movies I've ever seen. I absolutely loved Wonder Woman. So looking at the DCU overall, I'm anticipating it. I do see that there's a lot of good potential for the DCU to be fantastic, amazing. I see so much potential there. And looking at Justice League, like I said, I think it has the potential to be so good, and I do think it will be good. Now, a lot of things have been coming out saying that now the official runtime for Justice League is exactly 2 hours. Now, a lot of people are like, how are you supposed to do a team-up movie where you have to introduce a new Flash, Aquaman, and Cyborg all to this in 2 hours? How are you supposed to do that? How are you supposed to get us to know all these characters, get them all teamed up, have them fight Steppenwolf, and be completely done? You know, looking at this, I honestly thought this movie would be like 2 hours and 30 minutes, somewhere around there. But now coming out, it's 2 hours. I'm not going to lie. When I first heard about that, I was like, really? 2 hours long? But then I started thinking about it more. I started looking at other movies that I've seen with these longer runtimes, say the Avengers or Avengers Age of Ultron. 2 hours and around 30 minutes, 2 hours 20 minutes around for both those films. And honestly, looking at the films, I don't need some of that 20 minutes. Like, honestly, you could cut out 20 minutes of those films and be fine. If you really look at those films, especially the first Avengers, which I still find to be a fantastic film, the first 20 minutes could easily cut out because we're pretty much getting reintroduced to each of every character that we've already learned. And then any new characters they throw into there, they kind of just introduce us slightly and slowly through, but we don't need total backstory on them yet, which is what I think Justice League is doing. It's setting up these characters for when we see them later down the line, say the Flash or Aquaman, and when they pop up in either their solo film or a different film. And we all know they're each getting their own solo film, so why fully go in depth with their characters? You know what I mean on that? Some of you guys are saying, but we've already seen Captain America, we've already seen Thor, so in the first Avengers, how does that even make sense? Why would you even say cut out the first 20 minutes? We're trying to figure out where they're at. Look at this movie, for instance. Guardians of the Galaxy is the exact same runtime as Justice League, as well Justice League will be. Guardians of the Galaxy has 5 new characters. We have Star-Lord, Gamora, Drax, Rocket, and Groot. 5 big characters. 5 big main characters. Yes, none of them are as to the level as Batman or the Flash or Superman. And yes, there are more characters in the Justice League. Yes, we have to figure out how Superman's going to come back to life, how the Flash is going to be joined in, how Aquaman's going to be joined in. But I feel like they're simply just going to introduce them. There doesn't need to be overly complicated stuff. Now, Superman is a different story. Superman is probably going to be a majority of the plot, and he'll be in the plot where, how is he coming back to life? I feel like he's just going to be a basic plot point for the film. So I don't think Superman is just a subplot for like a Flash or Aquaman or Cyborg and getting them in. I feel like Batman already knows about these 3 people, obviously from what we saw in Batman v Superman. So it's obviously like, we're going to see what's going on with them. And you guys might have a completely different opinion on this. So make sure to comment and tell me what your guys' opinion on this. But like I said, I don't feel like we should be worried about a 2-hour runtime. Because like I said, Guardians of the Galaxy did it fine and made us love each and every character to the point where I was happy with who I got in there. I got enough character development with them, but it intrigued me to either see them in their own solo film or another kind of team-up movie with them all together. And obviously, we got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and the best part of that film was seeing all the characters back together. Another big thing that this movie can do is take, for instance, you look at maybe other action shows or action movies where they have these big lineups of cast, and they just kind of throw them into the action sequences. I expect Justice League to not have the best story, but just have a good story that throws us into this comic book world of all these heroes trying to save people. We're not going to get this overly justified story that maybe Batman v Superman should have been, or something that's like Civil War. It's more likely just going to introduce us to the characters and give us some great action sequences. Because for me, Zack Snyder is fantastic at filming action. And obviously now we have Joss Whedon coming in to finish up the movie, which he already has. And obviously after Zack's tragic event in his family, you know, Joss Whedon came in and stepped it up. And what did he change? We don't know exactly. But it seems like he cut off the fluff. And Joss Whedon has already made two of arguably some of the best comic book movies. Two of the Avengers films. Age of Ultron, there was obviously a lot of fluff in there that you could cut out. And same with the first Avengers. There's a lot of fluff in there that you could cut out. Because when we go back and watch those films, we don't really necessarily, we mostly go through it to get to the best scenes, which is towards the end, towards the middle, where we get that meaty action, that meaty dialogue between the characters, the banter. When they're all together, that's when those films work perfectly fine. Age of Ultron is that same thing. The beginning... It's like the beginning was like the ending of the first Avengers. You get some big action scene, you get us in, then kind of towards the middle of it, it kind of started getting fluff in it that you could have easily taken out. You know, you got the Thor hot tub bath machine, you kind of got the Hawkeye on the farm, which for me, I argue that you needed in those films. But you look at Justice League. I cannot stress this enough that I think Joss Whedon had learned from the Avengers films of what to cut out and what not to cut out. And I think being him, he is a big comic book nerd just like us. I really have a feeling that he tightly grasped what Zack Snyder's vision was, took out the fluff that didn't need. Because yes, given Zack Snyder has made some incredible films. 300 most notably is probably his best film. But you also go and look at Watchmen. And Watchmen is one of those films that has so many characters. And honestly, Watchmen is a very underrated film in my opinion. He filmed a movie that had very underrated characters. But the thing is that Watchmen needed that slow burn and pace that Watchmen, just like the feel from the comic books. But take, for instance, you look at me. I love the Justice League animated show as a kid. I love the comic books as well. Look at those. Obviously, each solo film was built up. Maybe the DC universe should have built up each character in their own solo film, then throw them into this big Avengers-style Justice League mashup movie. But they did it differently, and I applaud them for trying it. We've met all these characters. We have at least seen them on screen. Maybe not most notably talk to them, but we've met them. And DC has slowly been marketing us that we get a Jason Momoa Aquaman. We're going to get his own movie next year. And Cyborg's going to get his own movie. And he's going to join The Flash in his solo movie. And ultimately, you really look at Cyborg is pretty much like the Hawkeye of this group, in my opinion, from what I'm looking at. And Hawkeye didn't have a solo film. We maybe met him once. They threw him in the Avengers. They introduced him. This is who he is. Second movie gave him some more dialogue. And maybe we won't get a lot of character development with these characters. Maybe that'll be the one con of this film that a lot of people wanted more of. But from what I'm looking at, I don't think Justice League is going to be a mess. I think that 2-hour runtime is perfectly fine with me. Like I said, at first I was very really 2 hours? That's it? But as the movie and everything started coming more together, and I started thinking more logically, some of my favorite comic book movies, some of my favorite movies of all time, are under 2 hours. And still carried a great story, a great cast of characters, and just a great overall thrilling, entertaining time. And I don't think movies nowadays have to be over 2 hours. This isn't a Fantastic Four shit stick, which was like hour and 36 minutes including credits. No, this is Justice League. It's a big movie, and I really don't think if Warner Brothers was going to put out a 2-hour runtime, I feel like they know their franchise is pretty much running off Justice League either being good or bad. We all know that. I mean, Batman vs. Superman didn't get the best critical reception. And most notably, I understand why, but at the same time, it had a lot of good things in it. But you got Batman. First off, we get Man of Steel, which also didn't get critical response well, but I don't understand why. Man of Steel is great. Man of Steel comes out, not the best. Batman v Superman comes out, still not good reception. Suicide Squad comes out, still not good reception. Wonder Woman, bam, blocks it out. Gets a lot of people back on the hope train of this being good. And I feel like DCEU is running on this good trail right now because after Wonder Woman being such a success, they still have that tempered past that some people were like, I'm not a fan of DCEU. I'm not sold on it yet. I'm not sold on Ben Affleck. I'm sold on Ben Affleck, but some people aren't. That's where we get to Justice League, where for me, coming to my conclusion on this, I feel like if DCEU if Warner Brothers themselves were not satisfied with this film, they would most likely just push it back till next year, reshoot a majority of the film, which it looks like they've already reshot a majority of the film, changed some of it, but still kept Zack Snyder's vision and mixed it with Whedon's vision to come together and make a fantastic film. I don't feel like Warner Brothers would even take that risk because they already have Aquaman. If this movie sucked, Aquaman would be infected by that. And going forth, honestly, this franchise would be done. I feel like Aquaman and Wonder Woman 2 would probably be the last films, and that would be it for this franchise. But I feel like Warner Brothers knows what they're doing at this point. They have Jeff Johns in charge now, and he came on board right as Wonder Woman was going in. And look at Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman looked fantastic. There was not a lot of fluff in there. It was fantastic, bottom to top. And I feel like Justice League is also going to be a fantastic movie. Really fun. Will it be as good as Wonder Woman? I don't know, but these are my thoughts. These are my hopeful thoughts. I like what they're doing this 2-hour runtime. It gets the story going, gets us into the story, and keeps going, and furthers this universe more. I have a feeling that this movie will probably end up around 75% to 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm hoping. I'm really hoping to God this does. And overall, I have a lot of respect for what Warner Brothers and DCEU, even coming out with the 2-hour runtime. It is risky, but I think it'll work. I have a feeling it'll work. But like I said, please comment down below and tell me, what do you guys think? Are you guys still worried about Justice League? Do my thoughts maybe elevate you to maybe having more hope for it? Or are you still kind of like, I'm not into the DCU. I'm going to wait till the reviews. I want to hear about it. Let's talk Justice League all down below as well. If you guys like this video, make sure to like and subscribe as well. I do a ton of editorials, tons of reviews, tons of trailer reactions, and I will be doing my Justice League review the second that movie comes out. The second I see it, I will get my review out for you guys. I'm really anticipating this film, guys. You guys know I am. Thank you guys so much for all the support. And if you like, again, make sure to share this video too, because I feel like this is a lot of things that people need to see, that we should not be worried about this 2-hour runtime or just in general. Check out the movie. Check out the movie for what it is and ignore the past. If you didn't like the other ones, go into this. You might be surprised. But as always, guys, like I said, can't wait to hear what you guys say. Again, and as always, stay classy.